Hello and welcome back. My name is Josh Dacey. Today I'm joined by Chipoal Indians head women's basketball coach Greg Franklin. Coach, once again, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Josh.
Coach, on Saturday your girls will take on Pensacola for the third and final time this season. In both matchups, you girls have been very physical and dominated the Pirates. What can you expect from them this time around?
Hopefully it's more of the same, Josh. I see Pensacola improving every game. I watched them play Tallahassee online, just this morning I was watching it. It's a team that's making some shots, executing well, cut down on their turnovers. I think any team in this conference is going to get better just because the competition is so tough. And playing people 3 times is really tough. I don't think we'll have a hard time getting our kids to get up for the game, but I do understand that sometimes players look at a team they've beaten by 30 or 40, twice, and they kind of get in their mind a little bit of a lull. So we'll have to make sure we kickstart the heart a little bit for Saturday's ball game.
Coach, as we head down the home stretch of the season, what players in the Panhandle outside of your program have you been most impressed with?
I've watched some kids that I think that have grown. We get Carly Barnes from Tallahassee. I've watched her over the past 3 years now, and she's grown. I think Hugh's done a tremendous job with her and gotten her better. I like the kid Wallen from Northwest Florida. I think she plays every facet of the game. I mean, she defends well, she passes well, she's very skilled, rebounds the heck out of it. I mean, she's a stat sheet filler. I mean, everything. She shoots it well from the 3. If I was someone that I was recruiting, like if I was at Mississippi State, I would pay very, very close attention to that child because she's very, very good. Makes your team better. I mean, as far as I can tell, it seems like a good teammate. When I'm watching film or watching them while we're playing them, she seems like she's into it, into her team, very unselfish. I really like that kid a ton. Gulf Coast, Christina King, I like her. I'd like to see her get a little more physical. I'm sure Coach Rooney is on her tail about being more physical and embracing that part of the game. If I was coaching, I'm sure Coach Scoville is. I mean, that's part of her MO. She's a very tough coach and makes her team very physical and intense. And I applaud her for that. Those are some kids I really like, some kids I watch from afar. I enjoy when I'm watching film, watching them play.
Coach, as we head down to the final 5 games in the Panhandle season, what is something that you'd like to see your team improve upon?
Executing offensively, knowing all the options. I think right now we're getting better. I mean, reversing the basketball, looking at the second, the third, the fourth option, not just settling, and if we don't have it at first, we go dead in the water. I really would like for us to get better at that. Also, being more in tune in the moment. This past game, Northwest Florida has scored on us 6 times on an out of bounds under because we were asleep at the wheel. I mean, and you can't give up 12 points in a basketball game like that and expect to win. Now, when you do win, it's a pleasant surprise. But we cannot do that ever again. It can't happen. I mean, 3 times they threw it off our back and laid the ball in. I mean, I've been playing, guys, you've been playing basketball since you were probably 6 or 7. That should never happen. Never.
Coach, depth in the end of February. You guys will be probably playing for something special in March. Are some key reserves that you're looking to get more playing times to establish more depth for your team?
Talia Moore, Chitty, Membeek Grayway, whatever. I can't get it right. I'm sorry. I apologize. I've been working on it all year long. I'd love to see those 2 kids step up, play some bigger minutes for us. I think that T's getting right there. I mean, she came in the other night and did some good things and played some good minutes. I'd like to see Chitty show me in practice before we get to the game. You know that. You earn your playing time in practice. I mean, if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, you're showing me that you understand what's happening out here and you're on point and you're not going to give up buckets. I don't care if they score. just don't give up buckets. Play a role, show me in practice. And that's what I've been telling those kids for a while now. Show me. Just give me an opportunity to be able to play you. T has. Chitty would help us immensely if she would step up and get more cognizant of what things are going on out in practice and show me that she's really getting it mentally. But I hope those two kids step up big for us down the stretch.
Coach, in the last game against Pensacola, several coaches were in the gym. Head coach at Texas, head coach at Kentucky. Evelyn's recruiting continues to grow as the season starts to dwindle down. Have you spoken to her? What is she like? Who is she more interested in than others?
She doesn't speak on it, and really, I try to stay out of it a ton, other than not letting her get overwhelmed with it. I know they find her somehow. I was telling somebody the other day, I get phone calls from people that say they've been having conversation with her for a year and a half, and I'd never spoken to that coach. But they said, well, we found her on Facebook. So I don't know. She doesn't want to speak about those things, and I really don't bring it up to her right now. The only thing she says to me is that she wants to win a national championship, and I applaud her for that. I hope all my kids are as locked in as she is. And I will say this about her. We had a conversation this past week about being more verbal, talking more, being that leader, because she leads by example. I mean, everyone else watches her, and she's extraordinary as far as her effort on the floor and in practice. But I wanted her to be more of a leader verbally and hold her teammates more accountable. After Jayla left, Jayla was more of our floor general. She would tell them, look, you're not doing this. Even if she wasn't doing it, she'd still tell somebody else, you're not doing this. Let's pick it up. And we lost that a little bit, and I was having to be the bad guy most of the time. And that just doesn't fly all the time. I can make them really good, but I can't make them great. Their accountability to each other makes them great. So we had a conversation about that, and ever since then, she's been more verbal and been more honest. I think we have that honest dialogue with your teammates. Maybe I don't get invited to play Uno with you tonight. Maybe you don't like me right now because I told you need to pick it up and work your tail. I don't mind not being invited over to the potluck, over to room 128 and playing Uno and watching Netflix. Maybe you're that player. Don't mind getting disregarded in that situation. But our team's going to be great. I'm not going to sacrifice that. My team's going to be great, even if you don't like me all the time.
She's very new to basketball. She's very new to the exposure. Is it overwhelming for her with having all these schools contact her?
Yes, it has been, and very overwhelming. That's why I don't speak to her about it. And people ask me all the time, "What she thinks?" I said, "I don't know. I have no idea. We don't talk about it. We really don't." She's a great kid that deserves the world. She does. She's that kid that you would hope that your daughter grows up to be like. She takes everything very serious, but also she's so lighthearted that her teammates love her. She's intense, insanely intense on the floor, but also she'd be the first to go help someone else on the other team up. Extremely competitive, but doesn't let that get in the way of being a good person. But I couldn't imagine her not getting anything but the best for herself because she works so hard and she's such a good person.
Coach, some players, when they see a lot of college coaches, they kind of try to put more pressure upon themselves. Evelyn being new to the game, does that help her, or does she even look at that, or does she just see it and she just go out and play?
It's like I was telling somebody the other day, who was it? I think it was Tennessee's coach, and she said, "Well, what does she think about Tennessee?" And I said, "Well, she doesn't know Tennessee from Tennessee Tech, so right now she's figuring all that out, and she's done that on her own. She's asked me a few questions about things, but it's like I told her, I said, this is your decision. This isn't a decision for anybody else. You decide what you want to do because you have to live with it. Now, if you ask me some questions, I will answer those questions. I'll field your questions, but am I going to sit there and tell you what to do? No, I'm not. Nor would I do. I don't do that with any of my players. It's one of the biggest decisions in their lives because it's going to impact the rest of their life. It's always going to be. They'll always be part of Chipola. They're always going to be in the Chipola nation. mafia, I guess you would say. A lot of our teams in this state think we're a mafia over here. But anyways, that's always going to be in their background. But this next place is going to be that alma mater, that bachelor's they get, and they're always going to want to go back and see, just as well as I saw a lot of our old players and coaches were here this past weekend and take great pride in who we are at Chipola. I had so many emails and phone calls about, they're coming this Saturday and they're excited to see the girls and things like that. And I think that's wonderful. I mean, it is. It's awesome. And that's something that was done way before I got here with Coach Lane and previous coaches. They did a tremendous job on building this tradition. And I know we have baseball alumni weekend coming up this weekend. That's going to be awesome. Coach Johnson, 19 years, and I don't know how many major leaguers, and I know that they're going to be retiring Patrick Corbin's jersey this weekend, and Russell Martin and Jose Bautista is going to be here. And I would invite. I'm telling you, if you want to see something that's crazy, I think they have the home run derby on Sunday. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm in awe. I'm like a little kid out there watching this stuff, and come out Saturday night to the basketball game. All those guys come to the game, and then they go to the dinner afterwards. So I'm excited about that as well. And that's just another thing about our tradition here that, I look around the country, and I worked a lot of different places, and this is the best place I've ever worked at. I mean, it's awesome. The people get it. They love it. They treat you like royalty. And you couldn't ask for a better situation at Chipola. But I do invite everybody out Saturday night for the baseball alumni thing and be at the basketball game at 5:30.
Coach, I thank you for your time, and we will be watching, so good luck on Saturday.
Thank you, Josh.